Good morning to everybody. First of all, I want just to tell you that I'm very glad to be here attending this interesting and prestigious Congress. I want to share, first of all, I want to share with you the greetings of the President of the National University Council, Andrea Lenz, who could not be here for previous duties. My presence here, I want to testify that we are really don't want to miss the opportunity to have the chance to be aware of what's going on in your field, and because we want to that our work will be based on the most and best practice which are internationally recognized. Because we are sure that only the scientific community can teach us what is life design for the students of university. And from this point of view, we want to base our politics about the university system. I apologize if now I will shift to Italian, but I will feel more comfortable to talk about political issues in my language rather than in English. But if you, if you have any problem, I can try to translate. L'interesse del Consiglio Universitario Nazionale.
The interest of the National Council of Universities in this conference is very high. We are fully aware that life design is currently at the core of the policies in numerous countries, as testified by what is going on in many countries. This is particularly true for a country like Italy. In addition to the economic crisis, which is of course before all of us, there is also a crisis of growth. Now, a growth crisis from a financial and economic point of view also means a crisis of future prospects. Our young people are increasingly demotivated, increasingly disincentivated vis-à-vis their future. And somehow the universities also have to provide some answers. And this is perhaps one of the reasons why I'm particularly pleased that we are here in Padua. Padua, as you know, is one of the most prestigious Italian universities, and this is also one of the most ancient universities in Europe. And this allows us to recall that university institutions established in the Middle Ages were basically an answer to the crisis of the medieval man, and was in fact a life design tool. Until then, the life expectation of a person was to be a soldier, a nobleman, a priest. So this new tool, the university, enabled the man of the medieval times to be able to redesign his future differently, with new and more interesting prospects. This reminds us that the university is at the core of the answers provided to crises, which are now never simply economic crises, but are also a crisis of prospects and of the future. The university institutions that most of us belong to, and I am very honored to represent the universities of Italy, are acknowledged that they are universally acknowledged model, and they also acknowledge that they are a source of answers for this current crisis. Universities are also a central player, or has a central role in the challenges faced by not only our country, worldwide. Within this context, the Italian university is suffering as a result of cuts. This crisis, nevertheless, is possibly rooted into a more distant past. And it's not possibly simply a question of the money available. Just a few days ago, we met for the first time the new minister, Professor Carrozza. During the meeting, it was a couple of hours meeting, she told us of the priorities of her ministry's agenda. And these priorities were student policies. So this government clearly wants to focus its efforts on the problems faced by students and to find a solution to the problems faced by students in terms of prospects, work prospects, and their potential academic career. And she is right in doing so, because these are long-standing problems of our university system. I can imagine that these are problems that we might share with other countries and involving other universities elsewhere. We know that these youngsters have less trust in their future, and they believe less and less in the possibility and the chance of finding a job that will mirror their qualifications and their competences, those competences that were acquired during their university career. Another problem is that students exit universities when they are a little too old already, if you like. And then there is the dropout level of 30% as far as Italy is concerned. The few resources that the government is making available for universities may not be lost in trying to oil a machine to attempt to make it more efficient without any clear action. So we need to create the real actions, the real tools to ensure that we use at best what the economists call our human capital. And one of the reasons why I am here today in a conference such as this is that this definition of human capital, in fact, is rather I find it really terrible, the contemporary idea that our students are an economic variable, that they are simply part of the capital, is something that I do not feel as respondent to my personal views. They are not capital, they are people. People whose needs and desires need to be identified and interpreted, and that need to be followed up by actions. So, facing a scientific community such as this, my hope is that you will provide an answer that might be useful for our students. So, in not seeing our students as a human capital, but as a community of people that have specific needs, is essential in order to avoid trying to implement actions and activities to increase efficiency that will in fact have little or no effect. So, trying to lead our students to better understand their aspirations for their future is beneficial to universities. And that will become a strategic answer for competition, for global competition, which our universities have, of course, to understand. We now want to focus on counselling, the connection between the secondary school and universities. I think that we have clearly perceived that this will be the issue of the university policies in the upcoming months. And we would like to support all of this through a number of projects that we want to validate scientifically, and we want to share with the scientific community such as yours. So, suggestions, proposal based on international best practices that are scientifically valid. And those validity will enable us to acquire greater international visibility, and that's how, in fact, shared by the community and not simply imposed top-down by the Ministry of Economics for the Economy and the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Social Policies. So we want to design a university that has the ability to put forward ideas, to produce a scientifically valid projects which are also innovative. And I will draw to a conclusion by briefly saying that in the National Council represents all of the university community. It includes not only professors but also students representatives. Through the students' representatives, there are also the representatives of the administrative staff. We are simply the terminal station, if you like, of the world of the universities. I hope that you will find it interesting to come to us, to give us your project, and to share your ideas with us. Without you, our action will remain an abstract idea. We have come to listen, we have come to share your ideas, and I hope that thanks to your help, this will be translated into a national policy, especially specifically as regards counselling. So I wish you fruitful proceedings and good luck for the future.